From the Library of Congress in Washington, D.C.
Mr. Robinson, you are here at Ira and George Gershwin, wonderful team, and this was George Gershwin's favorite piano.
Well, hang on one second. Please. Would you rub this all
I think
all over me?
You've got something going. You've got something going. But what does it feel like to get the Gershwin Award, and you had that in your life, didn't you?
Well, this is kind of like unbelievable to me. It's something that I never dared to even dream about or even think about, you know, for me to be even mentioned in the same breath with the Gershwins as a songwriter is just incredible. I can't believe it. It's just, because I heard the Gershwins, their music was some of the first music I ever heard as a baby growing up in Detroit. I had two older sisters and my mom, and between my two sisters and my mom, they played all kinds of music every day. We had everything from gut bucket blues to gospel to jazz to classical being played at our house all the time. And the Gershwins' music was prevalent in that because, see, the Gershwins wrote songs when the song was king. And I say that because back in those days, say the Gershwins, they wrote a hit song. All the artists of that day or that time recorded that song. It's not like nowadays, you know, an artist comes out with a song and the artist is like the focal point nowadays. So-and-so comes out with a record and they record it and people love it and so on. And maybe sometimes down the line, someone else will pick up that song and record it. But back in the Gershwin days, when they wrote a hit song, everybody recorded it immediately. So that song was out by 10 or 12 artists at the same time because it was the song was king. And so everybody wanted to hear that song. So people just sang that song. And it was a wonderful time, and their music was some of the first music I ever heard growing up. The first voice I ever remember hearing in my entire life was Sarah Vaughan. And she was singing Our Love Is Here to Stay. That's one of my favorite songs ever.
Our Love Is Here to Stay.
Our Love Is Here to Stay is one of my favorite songs ever. But yeah, so I grew up in a home where there was always music.
Always music. Now,
Always.
Did other people play music? I mean, in terms of piano or
We
instruments?
had an old upright piano in the house, and my mom played the piano, and she sang in church. You know, nobody ever sang professionally or played professionally like that, you know. But we had an old upright piano in the house where I would go and bang on it, and you know. But that was the closest we got to that.
When did you start to realize that, hey, this is something I just have to do, want to do, music is my life?
I really don't know when I started to realize it, but I can tell you honestly that from the time I was probably 5 or 6 years old, I always wanted to be a singer. I mean, that was in fact, up until I was like 5 or 6, it was my second ambition because my first one was to be a cowboy.
Oh.
Yeah, and then, but I always wanted to be a singer, and I watched all of the variety shows, anything had to do with music or what have you, and it was always there. It was just my impossible dream. It was something that I never thought could ever happen. From where I grew up, you know, that's not going to happen. I mean, you know, I'm growing up in the hood. I live in Detroit in the hood, so that can't happen. That was my thoughts about it but I just love to sing. And so I really always wanted this, and it's such a incredible blessing as far as I'm concerned to have it, to have been able to have been given this, you know, and to live it when it was my impossible dream.
And you had a partner in music and crime, Mr. Gordy.
Yeah.
We just looked at one of your first copyrighted songs, I Cry.
Yeah.
And it was both of you, like Ira and George Gershwin. Now, with your partnership, now that you've been buddies for quite a while.
Yeah, we've been buddies since. And no, when you were pinning this pin on me,
Yes.
I said to him he should be proud of himself because I'm his pupil. You know, I'm one of his many pupils. And were it not for him being who he is, I probably wouldn't be sitting here today getting ready to get the Gershwin Award and all that, you know. when I met Barry, I've always tried to write songs. I've tried to write songs since I was probably 6 years old. And I had a loose leaf notebook full of what I thought were songs. When I met him, there's at least 100 of them in there, And he was already a professional songwriter, because when I buy records, even today, when I buy music, and I always have done this, I always look to see who wrote this music. I'm not looking to see who's playing it or who's singing it. I want to know who wrote this music, who created this song that these people are singing or playing right here, right now. So as a kid growing up, my #1 singing idol was Jackie Wilson. And Jackie Wilson was dynamic. I would have walked 10 miles to see Jackie Wilson sing, because Jackie Wilson was dynamic. And I had all his records. And all of his songs were written by Berry Gordy. Okay.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
I'm sorry, I remember Lonely Teardrops.
That was Berry Gordy. So when I my group, we were called the Matadors at the time, and we had an opportunity to go audition for Jackie Wilson's managers. They were in Detroit, and they were talent scouting, And so we went to the audition, and we had a girl singing with us. My first wife, Claudette, was singing with us. And so we went to audition for them, and we sang 5 songs that I had written, which we thought was going to be the Get Over thing. They got their own material. We will definitely sign them. No, that did not happen, because we had a girl in the group, and I sang high and all that. So they told us that we were too much like the Platters. The Platters were #1 group in the world at that time, with the girl in the group. Zola was in the group, and Tony sang high and all. So they said, you're too much like them, so you'll never make it, and so on and so forth. So they rejected us. At the same time, there was a young man sitting over in the corner, and he was looking at us. And I thought he was waiting to audition, because at this time I was probably about 16. I thought he was about 17 or 18, because that's how he looked. And he was sitting over in the corner. I think, well, he's going to audition after us. And so after they rejected us and we walked out, and we were very, very dejected and walking down the hall and sad, and he came out behind us. He said, hey, man, wait a minute. So I turned around and said, yeah, how you doing? He said, where'd you get those songs from? And I'm wondering in my mind, what is it to him? So where'd I get the songs from? But I'm going to be nice, because he's interested in what it. So I said, I wrote them. Oh, gosh.
Now, see, everyone wants to know what's on your ringtone.
Sorry, you guys.
Smokey Robinson's ringtone.
Yeah.
What song is on there?
Yeah. But anyway, so he said to me, he said, I liked a couple of your songs, man. So I said, yeah. I said, oh, great, man. Thank you very much. He said, yeah. He said, I'm Berry Gordy. And I couldn't speak for 2 minutes. I mean, this guy right here is Berry Gordy. The guy I'm listening to his music all this time, and I'm hearing it, and he's looked like he's about my age. This is Berry Gordy, who wrote all these songs that I got, I couldn't believe it. So he said that he liked to help my songs, and he made a mistake of asking me if I had any more.
You had that notebook.
So I had that notebook. So we go in this little room, and he said, I like the sound of your voice, man. You got to sing some of your songs. So I was like, I'm going to sing 20 songs for Berry that day. He never once said to me, hey, man, I'm tired, or I got to go, or that's enough, or okay, man, I'll see you later. He never said that. He just sat there and listened to all of them, And every time he would listen to one, he would critique it. No, man, you should have so-and-so. You should have done this. You should have said so-and-so. Because I could always rhyme stuff, but I would have 4 or 5 songs in one song, because my first verse had absolutely nothing to do with my second verse. And my second verse had nothing to do with the bridge and all that. So he finally said to me, he said, you got to look at a song like this. It's a short book. It's a short story. It's a short movie, where the beginning and the middle and the ending tie in together and give people something to work with. So, man, even if you don't finish it, you've given them enough material so that they can work with it. He started to mentor me on my songwriting. So, if he hadn't been that, I don't know where I'd be. It's unbelievable to me. If he hadn't been that kind of guy, that would take that time. But he was. So here I am at the Gershwin piano.
At his favorite piano.
Yeah.
At his favorite.
Yeah, at the Gershwin piano, I'm sitting here.
And he's with you today, too.
Yeah, he is.
He's with you today.
Yeah.
Now, One of my favorite songs, and I'm using this as an opportunity, is Tracks of My Tears.
All right.
And it's in the registry for all time.
Yeah, it is.
As
That's
one of
beautiful.
the favorites. And that one touched so many people.
Yeah, that's
and
beautiful.
did that,
I,
is it one of yours?
The origin for that song was like the origin for so many songs for me. My most prolific, incredible, fantastic writing partner that I ever had was a guy named Marv Tarplin. He was my guitarist.
T-U-R-P-I-N.
Yeah, and Marv was, he would put his music on tape and give it to me. Say, man, see what you can come up with this. So the Tracks of My Tears was one of those. He put that music on tape. I had that music for 3 months before I could come up with any kind of idea for it. But I loved his guitar playing and his guitar riff, so he had it. So I finally came up with the first 3 lines of the chorus.
Mm-hmm.
Take a good look at my face, see a smile, look like place, if you're close, it's easy to trace that you're gone. No, that's not it. It's easy to trace that I'm looking for you. No, that's not it. It's easy to trace that I'm really sad because I went through 100 of those. One morning I was in the mirror and I was shaving. And I was just looking in the mirror and I was looking at my face and I said, wow, what if somebody had cried so much until if you looked closely at their face, you could see tracks that their tears had made. I said, okay, that's it. That's that song. But the origin of it was Marv Tarplin, because he gave me that music that inspired that lyric. So he was awesome. He's passed on now, but he was awesome.
So I have to ask you this. We heard the ringtone, and I didn't recognize what it was. But what kind of music and who are you listening to? And you can be honest.
I'm going to be honest. I'm going to be honest because I'm not ashamed of it. You know, if you could see my iPod or even my programming of my stations in my car or wherever I listen to music, I might be listening to Bach. I might be listening to Chopin or Beethoven. I might be listening to Frank Sinatra or Ella Fitzgerald. I might be listening to Bruno Mars or Mariah Carey or Beyonce. I might be listening to Nelly or 50 Cent. Or, you know, it's just going to what I want to hear that day. And, you know, I listen to all musics. And I'm not one of these people who says, well, you know, the kids nowadays, they're making all this trouble music. There's some kids making some great music out there today. Making some great music. You know, but they don't get the credit because we live in this world where the negative gets the attention. So all the negative music is what people are talking about. Well, this is stuff. No, the kids are making some great music still, you know, but the negative is getting the attention. So the positive of what they're doing is falling behind the wayside of the negative that they're talking about. But it's the same thing with the whole world. I mean, we were bombarded by negativity all day long on the news. Everything is, well, let's report this negativity, you know. I think every town, every city, every state should have at least 3 or 4 stations that it's mandatory that they give nothing but good news. You know? But that's what's happening with the music.
Well, I think this is good news, and I can't thank you enough. And I know the Library of Congress thanks you, and so many people are going to see you at the Gershwin piano, and you deserve to be here.
Thank you very much.
This has been a presentation of the Library of Congress. Visit us at loc.gov.